Everything happens at the right time.
That's true.
You know, because now look what's going on now. You don't know what's going on. I don't know if we're going to be able to go over there now. It's like almost going to be World War III. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
You think that's going to happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Some people predicted. They say it was written.
No, well, my mom says that too. She's like, you know, if you follow the Bible, she's like, it's prophesied.
Right.
When I think about it, like I listen to Putin and I'm like, this is like Hitler all over again. Like, to me, this guy has no fear. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like he doesn't care who dies. I think he wants to go down in history as
one of the greats.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Like,
the conqueror.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people really have this thing where they want this crazy legacy. Like, I don't care. They died for legacy.
Yeah.
So if you start this big war, you're willing to bomb anyone just to be a great in history. And people undermining that. I'm like, no, I think this nigga gonna do some shit like that. That's what he's saying. He's like, interfere, I'll give you the biggest consequences you've ever seen in history, because he wants you to interfere. He's just like,
he wants all the smoke.
Let's go. I want to blow the whole world up. I don't care. Like, right. I feel like that's what he wants.
Yeah. Some people are driven by power.
There you go.
And he's probably the closest one to getting it and whatever you want. Yeah.
They have the most nuclear weapons in the world, so.
Yeah. Let's not talk about gloomy stuff right now. Welcome back to It Starts Now, the Happy Hour Finance and Business. My name is Stanley. And on today's episode, I'm super excited because I have this trending, well, it's not necessarily trending. It's gonna explode. They have something that's so unique and different to the expectation. And when I first realized that they actually had a store on a bus, and to me, I was like, that's incredible. That's ingenious, the idea to have that. And so we're gonna dive in with Latoya and The Time Is, which is the name of the company. Please, on today's episode, welcome our guest, Latoya Barrett. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm pumped right now because we were talking a little bit earlier about the ingenious of the fact that the name is on a play on words, right? Mm-hmm. But before we begin, please introduce yourself. Please introduce your company and what you got going on, so that way we can start.
Okay. My name is Latoya. I'm the co-owner of the mobile boutique called The Time Is 1020. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for having me, and I really appreciate it. This is such a great opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for thinking of us. We're a fairly new business, so going into a month of business, and a lot of people have been reaching out to us for interviews and like articles, and this is the first interview.
Well,
so
we appreciate it. Thank you, because I know there's more to come. I know for a fact there's more to come. And what I was so excited about is because when I saw the whole bus concept of having an actual clothing line within a bus. I don't know how big is a bus, and I don't know how long it can, or how elongated it is for you to have so many items. Mm-hmm. But what I do like is the fact that there was something that was just out of the box during this time in this era. Mm-hmm. What made you guys think that this would be a great business model to have a thrift store on a bus?
Because the time is now. That's how we said the time is now. My partner and I, we have always been into thrifting. We were into thrifting, I'd say maybe like, I've been into thrifting for 5 years. That's how I made my income. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of people don't know, but there's people who thrift for a living. Like, we buy clothing and we resell, like, that's our only income. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, people sell things on eBay, on Poshmark, but that's what we do. So my partner's always been into that. And I wanted to get a store. And this is pre-pandemic. I was looking into getting stores. And then when the pandemic happened, it was like, okay, well, no one's really going outside anymore. Like, is that the best thing to do right now? We don't know. Mm-hmm. So, I was still looking for stores. I was shopping around thinking maybe stores are cheaper right now. We'll get over this.
Right.
As I'm looking at stores, I'm meeting with owners and they're telling me like, okay, in order to get this store, you gotta put down like 6 months of rent. You know, we're talking like $20,000. Then they want to see like, oh, you have to have like a bulk savings in your account. I'm just like, I don't have that much. I have startup cash and I have a dream, and I, like, let me get a store.
Right.
And
what was startup cash though?
Startup cash to me was a little like $9,000.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm just like, who thinks they can get a store with $9,000?
Hey, you'd be surprised how many people start with less and make it happen.
But that's what I believe in that, because I've had businesses before where I took $100 and turned it into more. So I just know, like, just give me a store, give it to me for a month. I could put down the first month's rent. I can get inventory. I know. I just believed in myself that much that I knew by next month it would get done. But back to the question, what made us want to do it now? So I couldn't find a store on my own. So that's when I ran into my friend Massuri in a thrift store one day. And I was so shy to ask. I remember I was like, oh my God, I want to ask this guy, would he open a store with me? If I'm just so scared to be like turned down, he'd be like, no. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned it to him. I said, Massuri. He was like, yes. And I'm like, do you want to open a store with me? And he was just like, I would do that. He was like, look for a store and let's do it.
Okay. What was Massuri doing at that time?
I think Massuri had a job. He was also doing thrifting. He loves to thrift. Like, it's just an obsession of ours. Even if we have a 9-to-5, we're still gonna thrift to resell because that's what we love to do. Okay. You know? And I continued looking for stores, still couldn't find anything. And then I remember watching a video on YouTube one day. I saw a woman turn a bus into a home. And when I was like, she had AC, she had a refrigerator, it was like solar powered. I was like, yeah, this is genius. Like, a home, like, you can clearly put a store on this.
Right.
I started to look up, like, see if they would even exist, like mobile boutiques. And I would find some, like, all the way like in Texas. People had them, but they were more like trailers that you can just like box trailers that they just turn into with regular racks inside. Right. And I'm like, no, I want like a full out store. And I came to Massuri. I was like, yo, we gotta get a bus. And then that's when Massuri, he's the one that actually went on the hunt for a bus. Okay. Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. On the time he was on the hunt for a bus, I was losing steam. I was like kind of like, we're never gonna find this. This is not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of like drifting away from the idea of doing the mobile boutique. Mm-hmm. Then he comes to me. He's like, I found our store. And he found it, and he kept on bugging me. Let's go see it. Let's go see it. And at the time, I'm like, I kind of changed the idea of what I want to do right now. I'm kind of going to probably go into like personal self-branding and lose my little money to do that. And he's like, come see it. And I saw it, and it was like perfect. It was a perfect size. It was just like, it had lighting inside, and it was just like, that was it. Was it solar powered as well? No, okay. It's not solar powered. We're working on that. We're going to make it solar powered. Okay. Right.
To me, that's like I said before, it's ingenious, because I think that model alone, I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Mm-hmm. And I guess my question is, did you guys have to get a permit? Like, and before that, what was the location? How did you guys decide on the location? Was it because of the foot traffic? Like, what was it?
It was the foot traffic. Okay. It was the foot traffic. Like, so this particular area in Bushwick, I don't know if people are familiar with Bushwick, Brooklyn, but to me, that is one of the most like trendiest parts of Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Like, when you're in Bushwick, you know you're in Bushwick, and it's based on the dressing. And I found out about that area because there was a couple of thrift stores that I used to sell clothing back to. So I would buy clothing and I would sell it back to them. Mm-hmm. And while I'm walking around, I'm like, why is there so many people like walking around on foot out here? Like, this is really a popular area. Bringing back to, this is how I knew this was the area to do it in. Last summer, after having all like the clothing that I had from my online sales, I had like a whole bunch of clothing left over. Mm-hmm. Last summer, after the pandemic, I was in Manhattan, 14th Street, and I saw people selling clothes outside with racks on 14th Street. I'm talking about in front of Zara, in front of Sephora, and police standing next to them. And I was just like, is this legal? Like, can you do this? Can you sell clothes outside? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, well, I have so much good stuff. Like, what if I bought it outside? I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I did it. And I did it in Bushwick. And I did it like in one of the most hottest summer days ever. I remember I was planning to do it on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That Saturday coming, I got nervous because I was like, I'm not selling clothes on the street. I got like, you know, you get nervous. Like, you're like, how is this going to play out? But it was a good thing that happened because the next day, it was a Sunday. And I got up that morning and said, I'm going to do it today. I grabbed my boyfriend's car at the time and I loaded it with like 200 pieces of clothing,
mm-hmm.
shoes, pocketbooks. And when I popped up on that Sunday, I didn't realize that was the perfect day to start because that was Pride Day. I did not realize that was one of the most biggest days in that neighborhood was Pride Day. It was like the streets were, it was like an open block party. It was people everywhere.
So you had the market right there.
And then the thing about it is, it was Pride Day, so it's like everyone wants to wear like glittery clothing and colorful stuff, and I had all of that. And that day, I made the most money I've ever made in a day, period, ever. Ever. And
so the timing was right.
And I was like, this is it. And I was like, this is it. And I did it every Sunday. Every Sunday after that, I did it.
And the business can continue to grow.
Yeah. Every Sunday, people looked forward to me coming there, and that's how I knew, like, all right, this is what we're going to do it around this area.
Okay. Now let's circle back to the second part of the question. The first part of the question: did you get a permit? Did you have to get a permit?
You do. You need to have like some type of licensing, like to sell on the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's recommended that you should have like a vendor's license. Yeah, and it's kind of hard to get because they only give them to veterans, but we have licenses.
Okay, that's good. And from there, like, I know it's not a traditional brick and mortar, right? Mm-hmm. And I know you want to get there, so we're going to touch into that. But let's say, I don't know and I don't really understand the ins and outs of the thrift store.
Okay.
So when somebody purchases something, do they try it on the bus?
They can.
They can?
Yeah,
okay.
They can. When I sell on the street, people were getting naked on the sidewalk. Like literally.
Really?
Men, women, underwear, changing. That's Bushwick. That's why I love Bushwick. No one cares about no. Bushwick is a place where it's be yourself. Like I love to move there because it's like you can just do whatever you want.
Right.
No one's judging you. No one's bothering you. It's like, so it was like I was like, this girl's in her underwear. She didn't care. This guy's in his underwear. It's clothing. It's your body. Everyone has bodies. You know.
True. It's like going to the beach except you're on the street.
Right. But so I said, you know what? I went on Amazon and I looked up. They have actual pop-up changing rooms. So I actually had a pop-up changing room. You can see if you see the like videos and pictures from how I had it.
Yeah.
I literally had a whole sidewalk, like a store outside. It was clothing, it was bags, shoes. It was like a good, I'd say 13 feet long. Like it was a store on the corner. And then I had this really large mirror that I have for my living room, like a 7 feet tall mirror. Mm-hmm. That's what stuck out. People saw this mirror, like a beautiful mirror on the side of the street, and they're like stopping, like, this girl has a store on the street. Like
that's amazing.
And that's what's in it. Yeah. But the bus now, we wanted to put a fitting room in it. It just so happened that we couldn't fit it. So right now, people are trying over like their clothing or their, they have like undergarments. They're pulling the clothes on top. So that's but people are buying without even trying the clothes on.
Okay. Is there like a return policy? Because like I said, I don't know. Okay.
Thrift stores, most thrift stores don't have it. It's like final sale.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the other thing is, like I said, I know it's not really traditional like a brick and mortar, but you eventually want to have a brick and mortar. What's the game plan?
So we're thinking that this bus is actually like it's going really well. Mm-hmm. We think we might want to get a second one and put in a different location. We're eyeing another location. We know that it's a lot of foot traffic. I'm not going to say where it is, but this is probably where the next location should be, because like the actual like average income in that area is like it's astronomical. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
who does the research for that stuff? Because it's like a 2-man team right now.
I don't know. It's just like we just know. We just know. It's like when you get into this business of thrifting and reselling, it just gives you certain skills. Like we watch what people wear, we watch how they dress. You can just tell where to go.
Right,
yeah,
right,
and what
right.
they're looking for.
Right, right.
It's like a sixth sense I picked up on.
Yeah.
Like literally. Yeah. But thrifting is a big business. Like I think they're projecting it to be like a $30 billion business within the next 5 years or something like that.
Really?
It's because of the way the time is changing.
Right.
Fast fashion, people are no longer spending high dollars on things that.
That's true.
The vintage, the clothing, older clothing, look how long they're lasting. I'm selling clothes back from the 70s and the 60s. They're lasting so now. If you go out and buy a garment right now, you wash it a couple times, it's destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
These older fabrics, like the silk and the linen, they're like standing time. And that's what they want. They want good made, well-made garments. And the older garments are made from good fabric.
And how do you know that detail yourself when you go in? Like, is that what you're looking for? High quality fabric?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We love like linen, silks, like leather and fur, and like animal prints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Mm-hmm.
And your partner is like stylish too, with the way he walks.
Very stylish.
Yeah.
That's why he's the perfect partner. Because I feel like my expertise, like I like older clothing. Massuri per se, he's into high fashion and designer items. So that's his thing. He knows every designer. Just by looking at, he can tell, oh, those are Alexander Wang jeans. Those are Missy Miyake. Like he knows every designer, and it's just like it's amazing. I love it, you know. Yeah. And then for me now, I'm more likely looking for like the older tags. Like I want like 70s wear, 60s wear, like that stuff gets me really excited.
So you guys have a natural balance, because I remember earlier we talked about like you're more of like the person that like to have fun. He's more of like reserved and things like that.
He's more reserved.
But it crossed over in everything, even in the business, on how you guys approach it. Like you said earlier, you like more of the old items, but he's more into the designer.
Yeah, so it gives us like this really cool balance, you know. Like I feel like the whole idea for the bus, I personally wanted the bus to be something that was memorable and fun. Like I love fun, and I'm like, out of anything, I don't care if we don't make money, we gotta make fun. We gotta have fun. Yeah, that's my thing. Like that helps the day go by. You know, that's what I like, enjoying myself. So, but with Massuri, he's like, okay, yeah, you can have your fun, but we have work to do. You know, like I've never worked so hard in my life. I've never worked 14-hour days, 7 days a week straight. Like
yeah. But you know, I'm glad you touched on that, because a lot of people don't understand how entrepreneurship works. They think because you become you have more flexibility, that you're able to do a lot of things, but they don't realize your time is really not your time. Your time is really into the business. So when they think like, oh, but you know, you're not working for the man. No, I'm working for this man or this woman. Like you still got to work for your customers, you know? And that 14 hours a day is like, it's real, right? It's real. Do you have the time to socialize? Not really.
I get hit with this every single day. Like all of my friends like, okay, so when you off? And I'm like, I'm never really off, because even when we're closed, we're buying in bulk. And that takes the whole day. You know, there's always something to do. When you're running your own business, there's always something
especially
to
in the
do
beginning.
In the beginning. Like, I sleep and dream this shit. Like, I you know, and the thing about it is when I come home, I don't watch TV. I'm on my phone. I'm Googling. I'm looking at like trends and stuff. So it's like, it all depends. If I really have an hour to spare and I'm not doing anything, then I can pop up. But for me to like really plan and say I'm going to be there, it's really hard, because it's always something to do for a new business.
Right. Let's talk about the business in totality. What do you think that this bus concept, because eventually somebody's going to jump on board now, especially after they hear this and they see what's going on. What is the potential that you think that you guys can make monetary wise, or even get to level wise?
All right. Well, I already see it. You know, I don't know if did you watch the Kanye documentary? You did, right? Yeah. And I was so glad, like, I watched that at that time, because it was.
I actually recommended to a group of mine. I said, "Yo, this is pretty cool."
Everyone needs to watch, especially entrepreneurs. Anyone that has like a dream. Like, I didn't know that he was told no so many times.
So many times, yeah.
And that really helped me, because it's like I already see where my business is going to be at. I know when I talk to people, they think I'm arrogant sometimes. They're like, "Okay, you need proper marketing to get to this level." And I'm like, "No, but if I see it already, how can you tell me this is what I need. I know it's gonna get there because I believe that.
You believe it, yeah.
I know. I just know that it takes time and it takes consistency. So I'm really glad I watched him because he was consistent, he was persistent, he didn't stop.
How many no's that he received, and even when they got to a certain point, right? They said, "Hold up, now the real work begins." Yeah, right. Now through all the no's and everything, then he finally got signed. He finally got a budget to release his album, and the video was out. And he's like, "Now the real work begins." And you're thinking like, "Hold up, you kind of made it," but no, that's when you really start to put in the additional work on top of that. Another good one to watch is, and I watched it last night, and it kind of moved me, was the Kevin Garnett documentary. I believe it's on Showtime. And that's another one where he went through so much to finally get to that championship ring. And he yelled out, anything is possible. And I never understood the impact of that, how he was yelling and screaming, until I watched that documentary. And I was like, I get it now.
He did that during the game?
After they won the championship, he yelled out, anything is possible. But when you hear his story of the journey, now it makes sense why he was so passionate about it.
I really like that. I like documentaries. Yeah. So I'm going to watch that. But you see that clip, that anything, I might use that for like some kind of visual content.
You never know. You never know. Anything is possible. Yeah. And they show too, like, and how it happened, it was a random thing. He was, I would suggest everybody go watch the documentary. But what he said was, if his friend hadn't told him, let's go play ball at the gym, and he thought about it because he was trying to work on his SATs, I believe, and because he was struggling. And his friend said, hey, listen, let's clear your mind, let's go play some ball. He went and got to the gym. It so happened Michael Jordan was playing that day. And he was standing there, fogging up the glass, trying to look at Jordan play. Yeah. And then somebody knocked on a window and just said, hey, call him in. And then he was like, me? He's like, yeah. And then he was like, grab my sneakers. So he grabbed his sneakers, ran in and played. And as he was playing, he watched Isaiah Thomas on the floor laying down. And then he went to have a conversation with Isaiah. And Isaiah was the one that said, hey, you can go straight from high school to the league. And he was like, never heard of that before. And he was probably the first after 20 years.
Was he the first?
After 20 years. After 20 years, he was the first. Yeah. And that really sparked it for like he opened up the floodgates for a whole other people to come right behind him. But then when you go through the journey, you realize it's okay if I fail a few times. Because when you watch the Kanye's and you watch the Kevin Garnett stories, you're like, okay, it's okay that I failed a few times.
I feel like a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They don't get that part.
They don't get it. And eventually that's not, you may have one direction for the plan, but that doesn't mean that's the ultimate plan. Right. That's probably the journey you have to go through at that period. Right. But then it might take you to a different.
To me, it's like failing forward.
You're failing forward. Right.
Because I've tried a lot of different things. A lot of different things. And I feel like nothing worked out for this particular reason because this is where I'm supposed to be right now. Right.
But all that stuff prepared you.
It did.
If you look back, you're like, I got this skills, right?
I have so many skills. Like I am my own web designer. I design my own graphics. I design my own packaging. I don't order anything to get done. I do it all handmade in my house. Like I've done so many things. I've designed jewelry. I've designed clothing. I've made hair products from scratch. Like I can say like I can do a little everything because I've tried to do a lot of different things. So right. Yeah. So it definitely gives you skills. Like like as an entrepreneur, you're like, you do everything. Everything is like in-house at first. And I feel like it all prepared me for this boutique. Like it all prepared me to crush this, like when you ask me, where do I see this going? Like the bus is going to be, it's already like, we're coaching week 4 and the reception that we're getting from the people, I see where this is going. I want this bus to be like, in a way, like, well, not a landmark, but something you visit when you're in Brooklyn, like something you have to stop at. Like people who love thrifting, gotta check this bus out. We get a lot of tourists. A lot of people come to the area for the activities and the restaurants and the stores in that area. So the bus being in Bushwick, it's like top 5 things you have to do while in Bushwick. I want that to be like that.
And it's gonna be there because I can see it. Like I can literally see it. And I think it's like so amazing and creative. And the fact that you guys were able to attach a unique name to it, tell us how that name came about.
The time is originally we were gonna name it. I think it was okay, 1020 vintage, because the concept of the store is nothing is more than $20. All the items are $20 or $10. So inside the bus, all the items are $10, all the clothing, and then outside, the higher end items like the leather and the fur are $20.
Right.
Right. So 1020 vintage. That was the name we were going for. We were like printing things with it on, and I'm just like, wait a minute. Don't I even look up at Instagram? If I look up to see if anyone else has this name.
Right.
And I looked up the domain name, and I'm just like, okay, it's not available. I'm like, that's not a good thing. And I looked up the Instagram, and I'm just like, someone has this already. I was just like, okay, we shouldn't use this name because you don't want to confuse other people with your,
with your brand.
Even though I think it was like an older brand that never like, they stopped posting from like 2018. I was like, no, we have to create our own. And I remember I was Googling like synonyms for the word vintage. So I was like, all right. And then also, a lot of boutiques now, vintage businesses are like popping up everywhere. I don't know if you see them, they're like really on the rise right now. Everyone's naming their store vintage. And I'm just like, I don't want to be another just vintage. So when I Googled synonyms for vintage, I got time. And that's when it just started to make sense. I was like, what we're selling, it's kind of weird because it's a trend right now. What we're selling, old clothing, is a trend for everyone's wearing it now.
Right.
So the time to wear the time is now. Like the clothing it's old, but this is what they want. So the time is now.
Right.
And then also with us starting this business, it almost didn't happen because I was losing faith and it happening. And I'm just like, it's not the brick or mortar store I wanted, but the time, just do it. The time is now to do that. So that's when we were like, the time is now.
Yeah. It starts now.
It starts now, right. So that's how we got the name The Time Is. And then we named the bus The Time Is 1020 because it's like all the items are $10 and $20, so the time is 1020. So it's like a play on,
Play on
words. It's easy to remember. I hope it's easy to remember.
No, it's easy to remember, and I like the colors you guys use.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like some vintage old colors as well too.
I don't know. I just played around. I created the logo myself. Yeah. The color schemes, I do it myself. I just play around what I like, and that's what I like.
Wow. I definitely think this is something that's gonna explode. But what do you think the impact that it will have in the community right now?
Well,
or is having.
Right. I feel like we're adding a lot of value, and we're adding to that special flair to Bushwick. Like I said, Bushwick is like a up and coming trendy area where it's really home to a lot of creatives. And this is why I love it, because almost 90% of people that I meet, I don't think I've met anyone who wasn't an artist. Like everyone that comes into that shop, and I think maybe with secondhand and colorful prints and old clothing, it attracts artists or something, trendy people. Everyone that comes into that shop, they're a student for something. They're an engineer, they're an actress, they're a dancer. Right. Everyone is into something. That area is an area for creative people. Right. So I feel like we add to that. We add to that. You can only come to this bus that's in Bushwick. We add to that flair of it being the place for unique businesses. Yeah. Also value wise, I don't know anyone else that's selling fur coats for $20. We're really giving people value for their money.
That's a lot of value.
We are and another thing too, because it's such a trendy area. Yeah. People stop there to get their outfits for their shows for the night. A lot of people come I have a show tonight. What do you got for me? And I love it because it's I'm literally dressing everyone one person at a time. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love people hit me with the she gets me dressed. Go to her. That's the fun part about it.
The thing is, you got it. It's very eclectic, right? For an eclectic group, because everybody's different and bring different personalities, right? And then the product lines that you have fit multiple people, multiple group of people. And I think that it's definitely going to explode to the point where if you start dressing people, or, to go out or to do a show, It's only a matter of time before the floodgates are going to open. But now that kind of success sometimes, when things start to happen and they start to explode, can really take a company down if they're not prepared. Are you guys prepared for when it starts to really scale?
Yeah, we are. We're taking it slow right now. We're not like rushing into like scaling pretty quickly, but we're taking it slow to prepare ourselves because we know we're gonna get really big and we see the demand. So we're just trying to figure out, okay, how can we meet our demand efficiently? So we're definitely working on that.
So you put like certain systems?
Yeah, we're definitely putting certain systems. Yeah. We definitely have to hire help soon because the bus, literally on the bus, we probably have about, I would say, 300 items held in the bus. And then we have racks outside. So each rack holds like 100 items. So I have 4 racks outside.
Right. So the setup is crazy.
It's a lot of items. It's a lot of items. But it was crazy in the morning, like getting to the bus and, unpacking. I used to kind of dread it. But as we kept doing it, it gets faster. It takes us maybe like 15, 20 minutes to set up.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on it. We're like, let's get it. But, yeah, so we're definitely going to need, having a store, we're definitely going to have to get help to bring in, because Massuri and I on our own are bringing in like 300 items a week on our own. Yeah. So we're going to need like way more than that. If we want to scale, if we want to go higher and stuff, we're going to have to bring in more inventory.
Do you think you have to get a bigger bus?
Remember we said the second bus.
Yes, okay.
Get a second bus and definitely a storefront.
Yeah. Guys are moving, man.
Just 2 buses. We think 2 buses will be fine.
That's what's up.
And then brick and mortar.
And brick and mortar. Now, if somebody young like you, Latoya, that's looking to get some advice or want to create a bus, right? This whole concept, what would you say to get them started? To start now.
If you want to start a mobile boutique, I definitely say like think about your niche, like on your creative standpoint, like how would you make it, I don't know, unique and fun, like why would people want to enter a bus to buy clothing? Like there's stores, why would they not shop in the convenience of the store?
Right.
And I feel like with our bus just has like, it's a special formula made from Massuri and I. Like it's fun. You see the colors inside?
I did.
It's like really funky and fun. So people come in just to take pictures, just to say I was here, and that's how I know we're doing the right thing.
Right. Because I see you guys post on IG people taking pictures of being with the items.
Yeah.
Or just being there.
Yeah. That's I'm like, this is the place.
So you're right. It's going to be an attraction.
Yeah, an attraction. Definitely.
Okay. So what else advice would you get them to get started?
Make sure this is what you want to do because it's not easy. You gotta definitely get your licensing, get that stuff done. I don't know. I'm not trying to give out too much advice.
No.
No, but with any business, like prepare yourself, do your research. Like I knew where I wanted to be at because I tested out the market. I knew that was foot traffic there. I tested it out. Definitely do your research. I do get close friends of mine. They ask me questions all the time, like, so how does it go? Like, how you do it? And like, how much is the bus? And they're trying to like get,
pick your brain.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I really think the bus is succeeding is because it's who's running the bus. I don't really think and then the quality of the clothing as well. But I feel like Massuri and I, we have this dynamic and we have great customer service. Like our customers always come first. We try our hardest to make sure everyone's happy. And I think that's a really big thing when doing this type of business. That's
what's up. And that's true. Customer service is very important.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
I really want to talk about remember you asked me a question about our background, right? About entrepreneurship and how we were, what inspired us to have a business.
Right.
And I don't know if I told you, Massuri's mom had owned a supermarket in Indonesia. And so from young, he was always like helping his mother out, working there, and he was inspired from a young age. Same as though my dad owned a very like popular record store in Brooklyn, East Flatbush.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like being around 12 years old where I'm like, I want to be like my father.
Right.
Like my dad was so like well respected, and the community, like he did so much for his community, and that's kind of what drove me to really want to have a business. I'm just like, I want to have an outlet where I can help other people as well. And I feel like with a business, you know, it can bring you there.
Yeah.
So that's what really like inspired both of us, I guess. I guess entrepreneurship, you kind of get in, like everyone's story that I hear, it's from something from growing up.
Something from growing up, yeah.
Right?
It stems up. It's something that for the majority, because I don't want to not include other people, but for the majority, it's something that they've seen, witnessed, or been a part of,
right?
And it triggers something from early. And if it's something if the language is fluently discussed around the house about entrepreneurship, about building your own, or establishing yourself, then the message will eventually trickle down to the young people, because that's the language that's being spoken in the house, right? Just like if it's an artist, right? If the language of most musicians, when you hear some of their story, their parents used to play music nonstop in the house, right? So subconsciously all that stuff sinks in, and as you get older, you may not understand where this passion for music come from, or you may not understand how you understand melodies and patterns, because it's something, because it was constant subconsciously. That's something that's been played out throughout the household. So when you see things like, for you, you saw your father, you saw what your father passion for his business, and you saw how it impacted the community. Same thing with your partner, right? So now when you start, as you get older, even though you might go in a different direction, but subconsciously is there.
Right.
And then something brings it about. Right. And the magic thing about it is that, and I noticed that because I've been doing some research and also learning myself, because I had to unlearn a lot of bad habits to really view things from a broader perspective, right? So when you look at things from a macro level, you start to realize eventually like-minded people start to come together, just like you and your partner, probably two separate sides of the world.
Right.
But the common interest was there, and then you guys found yourselves coming together, and then finally you guys are together. So sometimes the universe it's playing its role, right? You may not be aware of it, but it's playing its role. But as an entrepreneur, or as anybody that's skillful in something, it starts from the household. That is how you impacted, and how it made you feel. So when you get older, you're like, I like this.
You're right. You're so right about that. Like, I have a daughter, and like I look how I've been self-employed since she was like 5 years old. And I ask her what she wants to be. She's like, oh, I want to be a basketball player. She's like, in her mind, she's like, I don't think I'm gonna work a job. Because she's like, I never really seen my mom. My mom always had her own thing going. So to her, she's like, I want to be an artist. I want to do this. Because she's just like, that's my mom. My mom is doing it, and she was doing it. So that's what she tells people. She's like, I'm going to be an artist, or I'm going to be a basketball player. And
people tend to, if that's what, like my mother is an inspiration for me, because my mother owned, properties. Okay. So growing up, that's what I saw. Yeah. I saw her being a landlady, or landlord, or however you want to put it. I saw that growing up. So subconsciously, I never looked at it like, okay, even though she had a job, but she was still a business person, and eventually she gravitated more into doing, real estate than she was doing her job. But when you see things like that growing up, you feel like, no, there is another path. Right. I've seen it. I witnessed the other path. So I know there's another path. Yeah. People that don't see it,
it's kind of scary.
It is a fearful thing, because you don't know.
Will this work out? I don't know anyone that has worked out for. Yeah, you're
and you only know what you know.
That's
right.
True.
And if you don't know it, then it's like I'm going into uncharted territories. Yeah. But if you know already, that there's a path. You're like, no, I'm going to take this risk because I've seen this done So I know if it can be done, I'm gonna do it. And that's why you see most athletes, their son follows. Some of them, their kids follow their path because they're like, no, I've seen it done. If my dad made it to the NBA or my mother made it to the WNBA, then I can too.
Right.
So it's the language and it's the message that trickles down into the family and that's why it's important to let your kids see it. Not having conversations with your kids about life in general, about what you do in general, is a disservice to your kids.
Sure.
You should be able to share all that information, all those jewels.
Yeah.
You don't know when they might need it,
them.
Right? But you should instill them in them. Like, hey, listen, if I'm having a discussion about how we're gonna make things work, they should be involved into it. Like, hey, they don't have to know like every single detail, but they should have a broad perspective. And as they get older, if they find interest in it, then allow them to jump in.
Right.
But at least make them comfortable with seeing. All right.
Yeah.
This is what we do as a family. And most family businesses are successful because a lot of people hands-on. They believe in it. It's like, it's a family business. That's what's providing us. That's what's making us. So we all get hands-on, but we also learn business.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. That's why you should have your daughter out there every now and then.
Yeah, when it gets warmer. Right now it's kind of cold, but with she helps me do like my online orders. She's always been my assistant. I have videos of her when she was like 6, literally putting labels on packages. Like I'm teaching her, this is orders for this person. This is where label goes. Taping up orders, so she knows that. And one thing that I'm really happy about is she knows like anything's possible, because she knows, she's seen mommy like broke on Monday and then rich by Friday. No, but no, she's seen like I, you think I make things happen. Like my daughter really thinks I'm like Superwoman to her. She's just like.
But that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. We should be the first superheroes.
Yeah.
The kids' first superheroes should be their parents.
Right.
And then it trickles out to other things, but that's the way it should be. It should be that way.
Right.
Yeah. And if it's not, then we have to look at ourselves of what we're doing wrong.
Right.
So, and that's why I said like I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people did too. But you learn from those. Like you make adjustments as you get older, right?
Yeah.
And then but if they see that, and they're like, nah, look what they overcame. I'm gonna do the same thing. I could overcome, and I could be successful too.
Because basically, I've tried a lot of different things. Like I've been selling things since I was like a teenager. When MySpace was out, I was taught myself how to code to charge people for MySpace pages. My friends have literally I'm an inspiration for a lot of my friends. They tell me this every day. My friends tell me I can't stop for them, and I feel a big responsibility, and I'm just like, really shouldn't give up. Like in that kind of documentary, you really need to just keep knocking, keep going. And I'm happy that I really watched that documentary, because I'm like, when you're growing up, you're young, you feel like things should be like instantly gratified instantly. And that was my whole 20s. My whole 20s, I felt like I'm not moving fast enough. I'm not where I need to be right now. So that makes you depressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's the thing about that's so unique, right? It's because you still should have a sense of urgency, but you shouldn't be rushing.
I'm not pressed like I was in my 20s.
Yeah. So, and you hear a lot of successful people, and I share this a few times too. It's like successful people are so far removed from the early grind days. So it's easier for them to tell you to slow down, right? They have experience though, so they can tell you that you're eventually going to get there.
Right.
But as that hunger for wanting, that has to be there, and that hunger to no, I gotta keep going. I gotta push. I gotta push. Knock on the door. That hunger is what gets you through the door.
Right.
So it's not that you shouldn't have a sense of urgency. You just shouldn't be hasty.
Right. That's what it is.
Yeah. And I think people get it confused when people say, "Oh, no, slow down. You'll get there." No. Have a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually, but still have a sense of urgency. And the meat and potato between the two is the fact one is not saying jump off the roof and just do anything. It's being calculated, but being productive every day. Doing a little something every single day that's going to move you an inch further.
Yeah.
That's having a sense of urgency, not sitting there and waiting.
Right.
You know, every day do something productive that's going to get you closer to your goal.
Right.
And that's the missing piece, the missing ingredient that I think that's removed when people have conversations about should you slow down. No,
right. And I feel a lot of people should really understand that, like, you really can get so far, even in a short period amount of time, if you really do something every single day to contribute to your business. That's it.
That's it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Listen, look at when we go back and look at the Kanye thing again. One thing he never did, when every time, people saying, no, relax, you're going to get there. You got the deal. He never, even after his mouth got wired, right? He was like, man, he was supposed to have surgery. Nah, I got momentum. I got to keep it up, right? Yeah. And the other thing was he, even before then, when nobody was taking him seriously, he went to studio after studio, asking friends to jump on tracks. He kept himself busy. He didn't wait for something to happen. He made it happen by having a sense of urgency and saying, listen, even though it's not happening right now, but let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. Let's do something. Let's move the needle a little bit closer to the goal. And that should be always the mindset. And that's why, like, when I hear people say, slow down, for what?
Yeah.
What am I slowing down for? Who's coming to the rescue? Nobody's coming to your rescue.
Yeah.
So you have to be the one that's going to have to be proactive every single day. But that doesn't mean being hasty and jumping out the window. It just means that we got to do something productive every day that's going to move the needle closer.
But are you aware that there's a lot of like kids in their 20s who are depressed for the fact that they're not getting somewhere fast enough? Like I have younger siblings, and I feel like they're comparing themselves to people that they see on social media, and I'm just like,
that's the wrong thing.
Like, you're not even, like, relax.
Yeah, that's the wrong thing.
Focus on what you're trying to do. Give it a year. Give something at least a year. Yeah. Keep going for a year first before you give up. Like,
absolutely. And I think that the problem is we project the future without doing the work now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants the end results without doing the work now. But if you focus on the work now, eventually we all gonna get there, right? But let's just focus on the work now. And social media, it's a good and bad thing, because the good part is, you see what you can achieve if it's real. For the ones that's real. You see what you can achieve. Yeah. But sometimes it makes people forget about the steps in front of them.
There's steps you got to take, and there's some work. You do have to lay down some work, but definitely stay consistent. Like I said, this is the hardest I've ever worked. Like, and I'm talking about, I wake up in the morning, leave the house by 6:30, drop my daughter to school. Then Massuri and I are in the bus from 11 to 8 at night. Then I go get my daughter, get her back home, dinner. I don't sleep until 11. I'm up from 6 until 11. That's every single day. But I see like what it's doing for the bus. The bus is moving at a fast pace. The goals that we set for ourselves, like beginning, first of all, we opened the bus the first day. This man made me open this bus a day after the blizzard. He opened it in like 20-degree weather.
I like
you. That's what I'm saying. I needed this guy because me personally, I'd be like, I'm going back to sleep. But we were out there in 20-degree weather, and people are stopping by and shopping on a snowy day. Like,
the world don't stop.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's why I said, who's coming to the rescue?
It doesn't stop. So it's like you have to put in the work. And just say, this is a month we've been in business, and we're hitting our goals. Like, we're hitting our daily goals on the head. So we're like, okay, we know we have to scale, because this don't make no sense. Like, we're doing what we said we're going to do, and it's only been a month. So let's work on scaling.
I agree. But this was amazing. I want you to share your social media, where they could contact you at.
Okay.
Where your stuff is located, so they could stop by and visit.
The bus is located on Bogart and Harrison Place in Bushwick, Brooklyn. Open from Friday to Sunday from 12 to 7 p.m. And the Instagram is, the time is 10:20.
That's what's up. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Please go check out her shop. trust me, it is an attraction. You're gonna love it. And the pictures, by the way, on IG is amazing. Everything with her is quality. They have an amazing team, her and her partner, and they're doing a great job. So tune in for next time. It's been great. Please don't forget, subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment if there's something you would like for us to answer. By the way, my name is Stan Lane, as you should know by now, hopefully. This is Latoya. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.